Hi there. Welcome to Medical Microbiology lecture. In today's lecture, we will learn about scientific methods. Scientific method is really important when we learn microorganisms and infectious diseases. What is scientific method? Scientific method is a general approach to explain a natural phenomenon. The scientific methods is usually start with questions, wonder, observations. And then from that, questions, wonder, observations, we formulate hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Hypothesis is a tentative explanation that can be supported or refuted by experimentation or tests. After that, we perform the experiment to test the hypothesis. When we perform the experiments, we will produce data and we will analyze the data. After that, we'll produce the report, the conclusion, and usually the scientific community will meet to discuss the results. And then after several meeting conferences, they can produce what we call the theory. Okay, when the theory is become accepted, then it's increased the level into what we call the principles or law. So principles or law are the highest level of scientific methods. This is the illustrations of cycles in scientific methods. Again, start with the observations, wonder, questions, and then we develop the hypothesis, and usually this hypothesis is related to what the research area. And then after that, we perform the experimentation to test the hypothesis. We produce the data, analyze the data, produce the report, conclusions, and then, start again. So we still need more information, then there will be more question, wonder, and then more research, more hypothesis, experimentation, and etc. until it's produced the theory. And finally, it can also become principle, okay, or law. So this is the cycle in the scientific method. This is an example in microbiology. So we know in the history that the early belief, people believe that life arises from non-living. Okay, so from non-living will become alive. And this theory is called as the spontaneous generation theory. So many people believe that. And then some scientists do not really believe that because based on their observations, based on their wonder, they know that life is actually coming from previous life. Therefore, okay, they produce the theory is called the biogenesis theory. And the scientist that produced the theory is Louis Pasteur. Okay. And this biogenesis theory means that life comes from previous life form. And this theory actually refutes the theory of spontaneous generation. Louis Pasteur also proposed a theory is called the germ theory. The germ theory is the theory that says infectious diseases are caused by germs or microorganisms. But on that time, Louis Pasteur did not have the ability to perform the experiment or to prove his theory because during his life there was no methodology that able to culture the microorganism, and there was no microscope yet during his time. So he unable to prove it. But the next generation of scientists will prove his theory. Thank you. So we will meet again on the next lecture. Goodbye.